Here are the top stories for today, October 31, 2019. An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.5 shakes parts of Mindanao, following two other strong tremors early this week. President Duterte cancels his trip to Chile following the cancellation of the APEC Summit. The Philippines and China discuss cooperation on oil and gas development for the first time. And residents of Benguet show how close they are to their relatives even after death.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. For our top story, just as Mindanaoans are still reeling from the magnitude 6.6 earthquake last Tuesday and Wednesday's magnitude 5 tremblor, another strong quake hit parts of Mindanao again Thursday. 3 are reported killed while an establishment collapsed during the tremor. Teresa Montemayor has the report.
An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.5 shook parts of Mindanao Thursday morning. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said the tremor was felt at around 9:11 a.m., 33 kilometers east of Tulunan, North Cotabato. Intensity 7 shaking was felt in Tulunan, Cotabato City, and Bansalan, Davao del Sur, while intensity 6 tremors were recorded in Matano, Davao del Sur. The quake was also felt with varied intensities in other parts of Cotabato City, Sarangani, South Cotabato, Coronadal City, General Santos City, Gingoog City, and Cagayan de Oro City. This is the third strong quake to jolt the region in a span of days. Just last Tuesday, a magnitude 6.6 quake jolted Tulunan, while on Wednesday, a magnitude 5 aftershock shook the same area. Tulunan Mayor Ruel Limbungan reported that at least 90% of the structures in Barangay Daig had collapsed in the 2 previous quakes. In Kidapawan, the new quake flattened the Evas Hotel in front of the City Hall to the ground, severely injuring several people. The last quake also opened huge cracks in the 3-story Ecoland 4000 condominium behind the wall. Initial reports indicated that 1 person was killed while 9 were injured. In a separate report, Chairperson Cesar Bangot of Barangay Batasan in Makilala, North Cotabato, was pinned to death by concrete walls of the village hall. 2 other civilians were also killed in 2 villages in Makilala. The city government of Davao ordered the suspension of classes in all levels, as well as government work at the City Hall. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Teresa Montemayor.
The death toll from Tuesday's magnitude 6.6 earthquake in Tulunan, North Cotabato has increased as of Thursday morning to 8. Authorities said 1 was reportedly killed by falling debris, while another suffered from cardiac arrest. In a related report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, the number of injured increased to 395. 2 remain missing in Magsaysay, Davao del Sur, while over 5,000 families are now affected by the quake. Meanwhile, over 1,000 buildings have been reported to be totally damaged. President Rodrigo Duterte is reported safe during the major earthquake that hit Mindanao this Thursday. Malacanang says the president was in his home in Davao City when the earthquake struck. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the president and his family are safe. President Duterte returned home with plans to visit the graves of his parents at the Roman Catholic Church Cemetery in time for All Saints' Day. Malacanang earlier announced that he is leaving for Thailand on November to attend the ASEAN Summit scheduled the next day, November 2. Digos City in Davao del Sur has been placed under a state of calamity following the recent magnitude 6.6 earthquake that hit Mindanao. In a special session, the City Council issued the declaration on Wednesday to enable the local government to tap its emergency funds. Due to the state of calamity, a price freeze will also be implemented on basic goods such as rice, canned goods, and fuel. The towns of Tulunan, Emlang, and Makilala in Cotabato and Matanao, Bansalan, and Magsaysay towns in Davao del Sur earlier declared a state of calamity following the magnitude 6.3 quake that hit on October 16. In other news, the Labor Department reminds employers to provide the appropriate holiday pay for workers on duty on November 1 and 2. More on these and other news around the metro from Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
Caritas Manila is appealing for donations for the earthquake victims in Mindanao, particularly in Cotabato. The social action arm of the Archdiocese of Manila launched the appeal on Tuesday. Caritas Manila Executive Director Father Anton Pascual said immediate needs include clean water, food, clothes, and hygiene items. Those who wish to make a donation may do so via select banks, Cebuana Lulier, or at the Caritas Manila main office at 2002 Jesus Street, Pandacan, Manila. Meanwhile, a Philippine Air Force C-130 aircraft has airlifted relief goods for the earthquake-affected residents of Mindanao. A total of 500 family food packs, 500 sleeping kits, 500 laminating sacks, and 50 family tents from the Department of Social Welfare and Development were airlifted from Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base in Pasay City to Tremblor General Santos City on Wednesday. In other news, the Japanese and the United States embassies in Manila on Wednesday extended sympathies to the Philippines, particularly the victims of the earthquakes that hit Mindanao on Tuesday. In a statement, Ambassador Koji Haneda offered his sincerest condolences to the families of the victims. For his part, the outgoing U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines, Sung Kim, posted on his official social media account a message of condolences to the kin of those killed by the powerful quakes. He called on to affected communities to stay safe as they offer their thoughts and prayers. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
Still to come, President Duterte cancels his trip to Chile following the cancellation of the APEC Summit. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security investigates the ambush on a radio journalist in Sultan Kudarat. These and more when we return.
I am pleased today to provide an overview of the President's participation in the 35th ASEAN Summit and related summits, which will be held on 2 to 4 November 2019 in Nonthaburi, Thailand. The 35th ASEAN Summit will be attended by the heads of governments and states of the ASEAN member states, as well as heads of governments and states of its dialogue partners. The President will be accompanied by the Secretaries of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Industry, and other cabinet members. Apart from the ASEAN Plenary Summit, there are several other summits where Philippine participation is expected. These include the ASEAN Plus 3 Summit and the East Asia Summit, where leaders are expected to share their views regarding regional and international issues affecting our region and beyond.
President Duterte is no longer attending the APEC Summit to be held in Santiago, Chile on November 15 to 17. Malacanang says Chile has canceled the November summit due to peace and order concerns as massive anti-government protests escalated to violence. Malacanang says Chile has also pulled out of the United Nations Climate Change Summit scheduled this December. Chilean President Sebastián Piñera said he has reluctantly decided on canceling the two events to prioritize the restoring of peace and order. In other news, customs officials in Port of Manila have seized about 3.5 million pesos worth of pork smuggled from China. The BOC has confiscated the shipment for violation of the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. Customs officials said 2 containers of pork and other meat products arrived in the country on October 8 but was misdeclared as food enhancers or seasoning. These stricter measures on the movement of pork products were set in place amid the spread of African swine fever from Luzon. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security, or PTFOMS, is investigating the attempt on the life of a radio journalist in Tacurong City, Sultan Kudarat. PTFOM's co-chairperson Undersecretary Joel Egco said his office strongly condemned a cowardly ambush on Benji Caballero, acting station manager of Radio Ni Juan FM and provincial stringer for Remate tabloid. Caballero is in critical condition after he was shot by two armed men while he was waiting for a ride in Poblacion, Tacurong City in Sultan Kudarat on Wednesday. Caballero also serves as president of the Sultan Kudarat Provincial Task Force on Media Security. Egco said Caballero was very critical of a powerful political clan in Maguindanao and may have drawn the ire of some people he dealt with. The PTFOMS has already asked Tacurong City Police Chief Lieutenant Colonel Ray Egos to secure the hospital where Caballero is being treated. The MMDA and PNP Highway Patrol Group bared its readiness for the observance of Undas. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority on Wednesday said they would deploy a total of 2,727 MMDA personnel during the holiday rush to assist commuters, motorists, and help manage the crowd in Metro Manila's largest cemeteries. It says double parking in streets surrounding major cemeteries will be allowed, but those obstructing the flow of traffic will still be towed. Number coding is suspended for provincial buses from October 31 to November 4, while number coding for private vehicles will only be suspended on November 1st. Meanwhile, the PNP Highway Patrol Group will deploy a total of 695 personnel in cemeteries and transportation hubs nationwide to provide assistance to motorists and ensure smooth traffic along major thoroughfares. The HPG also reminds motorists of blow baguettes, which stands for battery, light, oil, water, brakes, air, gas, engine, tires when checking their cars. Up next, the Philippines and China discuss cooperation on oil and gas development for the first time. And residents of Benguet show how close they stay to their relatives even after death. We will be back after a few reminders.
Sa pag-unlad ng turismo, umangat ang Pilipino. Mga may bahay, nagkahanap buhay. Tagahugas ng pinggan, naging gabay sa karagatan. Isang engineer, napaunlad ang sining ng buong barangay. Ang simpleng magsasagwan, malaki ang tulong sa kalikasan. Silang walang tinig, boses na ng kasaysayan. At ang specialty ni nanay, ngayoy pinipilahan. Ang best friend ng lahat, naging tour guide na. Ang daan-taong apo, naibida ang kulturang Pilipino. Lunti ang ilog, naging entablado. At katutubong sayaw, napaindak ang buong mundo. Ipagdiwang ang isang dekada ng Tourism Act. Kabuhayan sa turismo, pinauunlad ang bawat Pilipino.
The Philippines and China convened its first time on oil and gas cooperation last Monday in Beijing. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the two sides agreed to further push forward communication and coordination on oil and gas development with a view to achieving progress in accordance with the MOU. The DFA on Wednesday described the meeting as candid and in-depth, where the two sides had a friendly exchange on cooperation arrangements. However, it did not elaborate on what these arrangements will be. The DFA said the two countries would continue discussions in their second meeting in the Philippines in early 2020. Polio, which can cause paralysis, has no cure and can only be prevented with several doses of oral and injectable vaccines. In a bid to combat polio in the country, the Department of Health launched its Sabayang Patak Contra Polio campaign in Manila last August 19 and in Lanao del Sur, Marawi City, Davao del Sur, and Davao City last October 14. The campaign will be expanded to the whole of Mindanao on November 25, 2019 and will be concluded with the last round of vaccination on January 6, 2020. The DOH reports that 2.2 million children, or an average of 96% of children nationwide, have already been vaccinated. The DOH lauds parents for cooperating and reminds them to bring their children to the nearest health center to complete their polio and other routine vaccinations. Filipino favorites crispy fried daing and other salted foods may soon be slapped with taxes as the Department of Health seeks to reduce sodium intake among Filipinos and improve their health. In a press conference on Wednesday, the DOH underscores the need to tax salted products to lessen its consumption and improve the health of the consumers. Let's watch this.
It has been found in many countries that when you tax products that are unhealthy, talagang nagde-decrease kasi yung intake and the companies reformulate yung kanilang products. And of course, aside from sugar, the other nutrient component of food that we can alter actually and decrease to improve health outcomes is salt. Kasi yung salt is directly correlated to hypertension, heart disease, kidney diseases. So ito yung iniisip natin na pag-aralan na pagtataasan natin ang buwis sa sa salted food, maaaring magkaroon ito ng positive na outcome sa ating mga kalusugan. Wala pa namang there's nothing concrete right now, but it's something that the Department of Health is studying. And the WHO is also strictly very closely studying this para nga magkaroon tayo ng mga gabay sa mga iba't ibang bansa including the Philippines.
Kung hindi nyo alam po, ang dialysis ang number 2 expenditure ng PhilHealth. Ang sanhi ng dialysis sa Pilipinas ay diabetes at hypertension. Ang cause ng hypertension sa atin, maliban sa paninigarilyo, ay pagkain na maalat. Dapat po isang tao 2 grams lang per day. Tayo po, ang konsumo natin ay 11 to 15 grams per day.
Parang like yung sa sugar sweetened beverages natin, merong allowable limit ng percentage or number of grams of salt per serving. Ang mga nagiging effect kasi nito, so yung mga matataas talaga yung mga pagkain na kailangan talaga mataas ang salt, tumataas ang presyo niya. So people ang mga tao ngayon, bibili sila ng healthier option kasi mas mura. And another possible effect of this is that yung matataas ang salt na ginagamit nila, they consciously reformulate their products. Ginagawa nilang lower salt para bumaba yung presyo, and then the products in the market become actually healthier.
Cemeteries have been established in the towns, but Benguet residents still observe the culture of burying their dead very close to them, usually at the backyard of their houses. Laid Kapagani has this story.
Kabayan Benguet is known for its unique traditional practice of burying the dead, which include mummification that was observed in the olden times. It is attributed to the strong family ties of the residents that even if there is a public cemetery, they still want to bury their dead in their residential compound. Camilo Alumit, who is a native of Benguet, said there used to be a public cemetery in Kabayan, but after the strong earthquake struck in 1990, people returned to burying their dead at their residential compound or a common family backyard. He said the Karao tribe in Bocod, Benguet still practice burying the dead in their homes or the backyard. Meanwhile, in the capital town of La Trinidad, the Laoyan Abalos ancestral residence has a room devoted as burial ground of their ancestors. In an earlier interview with former La Trinidad Mayor Greg Abalos, he said there is a table-like furniture that is covered with a cloth in a corner, looking like an altar of some sort, but actually bears the gravestone of their ancestors. He said it was the desire of their ancestors to be placed in the house for them to be always there with their family. Unlike the other places, Benguet's practice of burying the dead in the backyard does not require special permit, since it has been a native practice observed by the ancestor in the old times that continue to the present. For Benguet locals, burying the dead in one's residence and backyard is also a proof of ownership of the land. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Kabagani.
And in our community billboard, here are some of the important tips to remember as you visit your departed loved ones in cemeteries during the observance of Undas. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.5 shakes parts of Mindanao, following two other strong tremors early this week. President Duterte cancels his trip to Chile following the cancellation of the APEC Summit. The Philippines and China discuss cooperation on oil and gas development for the first time. And residents of Benguet show how close they are to their relatives even after death.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And in line with the celebration of Undas, let us stay safe and be responsible in all of our travels and also while visiting our dearly departed loved ones in the cemetery. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.